Oi oi girls and boys and everything in between, it's Ace Trainer Liam, and today I'm gonna be a little bit negative. Last week I released a video of my favourite Pokemon of each type, and of course that was a video I originally did back in 2015, but since the original came out, you guys have been asking for literally the last 2 years, Liam, why don't you do a list of your least favourite Pokemon of each type? So since you guys want a video where I just take 18 Pokemon and drag their names through the mud, who am I to argue? Now because this is obviously an opinion heavy video, I can guarantee some of you aren't going to like the choices that I choose in this list. And in fact, because I know the YouTube audience so well, I know some of you will be so upset to hear that I've chosen one of your favourite Pokemon as my least favourite Pokemon that you'll get angry and you'll want to unsubscribe and things like that. And to be honest, do it. Because honestly, if you are one of those kinds of people, if you're one of those kinds of people who are pathetic enough to really vehemently hate someone just because they don't like a Pokemon, a fictional creature that you do like, if you hate someone so much based on that alone, we don't need uncool people like you on this channel. We don't need uncool people like you being part of this community, because if you're a cool person, you can hear someone's opinion and go, I don't really like the things I like. But that's okay, because I like the things I like. I'm going to get on with my life and still enjoy this content. However, if you're one of the cool kids and you're going to continue to watch this channel regardless of which Pokemon are in the list because you just enjoy the content and you're just entertained, then stick around for the ride as I list my least favourite Pokemon of each type. And of course, as with the previous video, I didn't miss any types. All 18 are in here, timestamps in the description. First up, we've got the bug type, and it's just a tandem. It's Volbeat and Illumise. Is it Illumise or Illumise? Nobody cares. There's nobody in the world that cares about these two Pokemon. They're an absolute waste of 2 entries in the Pokedex. One of the things that annoys me about them is they are 2 entries in the Pokedex. Like, the female and the male, who are basically the same Pokemon, except they have 2 different forms, like Meowstic, or 2 different places in the Pokedex. They could have very easily both been called Volbeat, or both been called Illumise, or Illumise, or Who Gives a Crapamon. But no, they had to waste 2 entries in the Pokedex on these 2 garbage Pokemon, and their themes don't even match each other. In their defense, yes, they're both based on fireflies. However, their kind of clothing style look that they've got, for Illumise, it's based on the 1920s. For Volbeat, it's based on the 1950s. They don't even match cultures that they're supposed to be representing. And on top of that, their stats are garbage. So these 2 bug types just need squishing. Okay, this is the one I'm going to get crap for. This is the one that the 12-year-olds and under are all going to unsubscribe for, and that's Greninja. I just don't like it. I'm not going to go into too much detail about it because I don't hate Greninja. Like, I used to think that I hated it, but actually, I don't hate it. I just don't care enough about it to form a strong enough opinion of it. Like all the other dark types, by the way, in preparation for this video, I looked at all the other dark types and I was like, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one, I like that one. Couldn't find any Pokemon in the dark typing that I disliked more than I disliked Greninja. And I guess that's the only reason it's in the list, is because it's the dark type Pokemon that I care for the least. And in terms of what I don't like about it, I don't like its design. Ninjas don't interest me, I'll be honest. Like, and that's the only thing Greninja has. It's a ninja that kind of resembles a frog in the way it stands, and it has the long tongue. Other than that, like, it's just a ninja, and I don't care. Like, I wish I could care about Greninja enough to make this an interesting entry in this list video, but I just don't care about it. Like, sorry kids, you know, if you're unsubscribing automatically and leaving me hate comments, I don't care, because I just don't care enough about Greninja to give a damn. Next up in the list is actually quite sad, because I don't dislike this Pokemon at all. It's just all the other Dragon-type Pokemon are Pokemon that I like more than this one, and that's Alolan Exeggutor. I'm much more of a fan of the original Exeggutor. Now don't get me wrong, I love the fact that this version is 35 feet tall and suits the Alola region perfectly, but I just prefer the original Exeggutor. Oh, and by the way, go watch my form fight between the 2 of them, you know, link in the description, cheap plug and all that. I think there'll even be a card in the corner of the screen you can click to go watch it, because, you know, plug, plug, plug. But yeah, sadly, Alolan Exeggutor is just, it's just the bottom of the list. Like, I can't put it above any other dragon type because I like the others and I like this one. I just don't like this one enough. For the electric type, it's technically 2 of the Pikachu clones, but they're the same Pokemon basically, and that's Plusle and Minun. Now I know some of you are like, oh Liam, but they're so cute and adorable, and it's like, yeah, but they're the Pikachu clones that look the least different from Pikachu. Like, they're just the most blatant rip-off of Pikachu ever. Like, they're both electric mice, they're both pure electric types. Like, I know Pachirisu is technically a Pikachu clone, and it's a pure electric type, but it's a white squirrel with like blue or pink on it, depending if it's shiny or not. And Plusle and Minun are literally just, hey, look, we took Pikachu, made it thinner, and then put a plus and a minus on them and gave them red and blue ears respectively. Like, what's the point? I don't see the point in Plusle and Minun. They're just such a boring gimmick Pokemon, and there's no reason for them to exist. They've got no real use. Like, outside of double battles, what do you do with Plusle and Minun? And who often brings Plusle and Minun to a double battle? Onward to the Fairy type, introduced in Generation 6, and my least favourite Fairy type of all time is Aromatisse. Now, I've no doubt people use Aromatisse effectively in battle. Like, it's got some decent stats on it, it's got some decent moves, and I get it. I get why some people use it, and I get what it's based on. I get it's got the whole Plague Doctor kind of mask look to it and things like that, and I know it's also based on like perfume and things like that. Obviously, Aromatisse, it's in the name, but to me, it just looks a bit like a streetwalker. Oh, and if you don't know what a streetwalker is, go and ask your mum. She's probably one. But no, honestly, it's just the level of just discomfort I feel when I see Aromatisse. Like, even with the little bit of legs sticking out of its frills or whatever, I just think someone's designed this Pokemon a little bit too much, if that makes sense. And it's just one of those really creepy Pokemon that I see it and I just feel uneasy. Onward to the fighting type, and you guys know which one this is going to be for me. It's Sork and Throw. And again, like Aromatisse before, I understand that you've probably used these two Pokemon effectively in battle, and I get that, and if you like them for that reason, that's great. But I just can't get over the fact that these Pokemon are literally born with karate and judo uniforms. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Certain Pokemon, you know, like, I get it, Cubone has a bone, and Farfetch'd has its leak, and somehow they appear when they're born, but at least they're animals finding natural things, and it makes sense. But these two Pokemon are literally in, like, tailored uniforms. It just annoys me. Plus, they're just way too humanoid. Like, they don't look to me like Pokemon. Pokemon to me are like animals or mythological creatures, whereas Sork and Throw are just a fat dude and a thin dude who happen to have a weird skin condition and are masters of martial arts for some reason. It's lazy. Like, if you're gonna make a Pokemon that is based on judo or based on karate, why couldn't you just, I don't know, make a Pokemon? Like, you just made two dudes and put the uniform on them and go, this way, everyone will know these Pokemon can do judo or karate. I really dislike them because they're the reason that Gen 5 gets such a bad rap for having unimaginative Pokemon, is because they've literally just got karate dude and judo dude, and that's it. For the fire type, it's gonna be an unpopular opinion, and I'm just gonna come out with it. I don't like Braixen, and it's your fault, internet. Braixen is one of those Pokemon where the internet went, hey, that's kind of like a fox with the body of a girl. I like girls. I think foxes are cool. I know. I'll form some weird animalistic bestiality kind of affection for it. And the internet went crazy. And it's so unfortunate because, I mean, it evolves into Delphox, and Delphox is a pretty crappy looking Pokemon anyway. But I could get over the fact that that Pokemon looks kind of garbage, but I can't get over the fact that there are weird people on the internet that find Braixen attractive. When I used to look at Braixen, I used to just think it was a Pokemon. I'd be like, okay, it's a little bit humanoid, but you know what? They've taken a fox and they've done something with it, and it's got kind of an interesting gimmick that it has the magic wand that is its the stick that it pulls out of its tail or whatever, and it's on fire, blah 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 blah. But it's just the whole internet wanting to do things that the internet probably shouldn't do with an animal person. I don't know. Just things involving anthropomorphic animals and carnal acts just really makes me uncomfortable. I don't know about you. By the way, if anybody's watching and you're into that, I mean, you do you, dude, but it ain't for me. For the flying type, surprisingly, it's Beautifly. The main reason that Beautifly is taking this spot in this list is because it's already been done. Like, we had a perfectly good butterfly Pokemon in Generation 1, and that was Butterfree. Not only that, but out of all of the bug and flying type Pokemon, Beautifly doesn't really stand up against them. Like, to me, Butterfree is a better Pokemon, Vivillon is a better Pokemon, Vespiquen is a much better Pokemon. You've got Pokemon like Yanmega, you've got Pokemon like Ninjask, who are all much better than Beautifly at the exact same thing that Beautifly is there to do. Like, out of all the Pokemon that are bug and flying Pokemon, Beautifly even has worse stats than Mothim. Beautifly is a flying type Pokemon that is just a really bad example of the type of Pokemon it's supposed to be. Like, there's no reason to use a Beautifly because there's always something that outclasses it. The Ghost type was another difficult one because the Ghost type has so few Pokemon in it, but the Pokemon that are in it all seem to have decent lore, decent backstories to them, and decent origins, whereas Shedinja is kind of rubbish. Like, Shedinja is a very one-trick pony kind of Pokemon. It has 1 HP, but it can only be hit by super effective moves. It's the dead shell of Nincada once it evolves into Ninjask. Wow, that's wonderful. And then it's got this stupid Pokedex entry that says that if you look through the hole in its back, you will basically die, or you'll lose your soul will be sucked in or whatever, but you see the back of the Pokemon when you're battling. It's not covered up with a little scarf or anything like that. You can look into that hole very readily in battle because it's just there. So there's literally a hole in the lore. Pun intended. Shedinja to me is just rubbish. It's just garbage. Like, I know there are some people out there. Every Pokemon on this list, I know there are people out there that go, well, I use Shedinja in battle very effectively. And you're like, it just doesn't make up for the fact that it's just a really piss poor Pokemon design. Shedinja is very much a Pokemon that has never interested me and probably never will. Onward to the Grass type, which is my least favourite type, and it was very difficult to pick one Pokemon out of the plethora of Grass type Pokemon there are, but I'm going with Cherim. Cherim is a Pokemon that has 2 different forms, based on whether harsh sunlight is in effect or not. Now, some of you that don't really know about Cherim will be asking, oh Liam, what happens when the form changes? Well, I'll tell you. It's nothing. It's literally nothing. In both of its forms, it literally has the same stats, the same typing, the same abilities. There is no difference to the 2 Cherim forms apart from the fact that its appearance changes. And to be fair, it's not even that good of a Pokemon to begin with in terms of its stats, in terms of its moveset. It's just really pants. Again, it's one of those Pokemon where the designers were thinking of what to add to the Pokedex and they just went, we could do with another grass type in this area. Okay. What about this flower? Like, it's just so pointless. I'm sure there are people that love Cherim because they think it's cute, but I just think it's a waste. It's the ground type next, and this is a Pokemon that I know some people do like, but again, I don't like it. It's Stunfisk. I've never really liked the design of Stunfisk. Like, I know it's based on like a flatfish, but I just don't care. Like, it doesn't interest me. It looks like the kind of Pokemon that I wouldn't be interested in catching. Also, ever since the mechanics were changed so that electric types can't be paralyzed, Stunfisk's Limber ability it can have is completely useless, because now it's an electric type that can't be paralyzed anyway, that has the ability Limber, which prevents it from being paralyzed. Like, it's ridiculous. In Gen 7, you gave the Drizzle ability to Pelipper, so why not, when you made this change, did you not change the secondary ability of Stunfisk? You still can do that in a future generation, but you just haven't done that. What's the point? And I know a lot of you will be like, Liam, just use Static or just use Sandveil Stunfisk, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm not interested in this Pokemon at all. Like, I get it, it's a flatfish, I get it, it's a ground and electric type, which is a unique type combination. Wow, fantastic. I can see it at the World Championships now. Stunfisk is as boring as real flatfish. For the Ice type, it's the most obvious entry on this list, and that is Jinx, my least favourite Pokemon of all time. I've never liked Jinx from day one. From when I was watching the original anime airing in the UK back in the 90s, it's garbage. It just doesn't look cool. It doesn't look interesting. I know about the mythology behind it. I know about the origin of it, but it doesn't make me like it anymore. It's a stupid humanoid Pokemon that just looks like a big person. Like, that's it. Its gimmick is it looks like a big person. It looks like a big person with lots of makeup. You know how interested I am in catching a big person in lots of makeup and using it in battle? Not very. In a world where I can capture monsters and creatures and mythological, amazing specimens and animals, why would I want to catch a big person? Not interested. It's just a stupid design. It looks ridiculous. Its whole gimmick in the anime is ridiculous. The whole thing, I just don't like it. I will never like Jinx. I just can't stand it. The whole thing just makes my skin crawl, to be honest. onto the normal type and what will be another unpopular opinion. I really don't like Bidoof. And I can already feel a bunch of you saying in the comments, but Bidoof is our Lord and Saviour, but Bidoof is so derpy, but Bidoof is such a this, that and the other. I don't care. Bidoof is garbage. It's not a strong Pokemon. It doesn't evolve into an interesting Pokemon. I get it. It's got a bit of a derpy face. I don't care. I don't find anything funny about it. I'm sorry. I know you guys love to be all memey about it and say like, oh, Bidoof's the strongest Pokemon ever. Bidoof's this, Bidoof's that. I don't care. It's the deadest meme ever. Like, the Bidoof meme went out of date about the same time as the Do You Like Mudkips meme. It's just boring now. It stopped being funny many, many, many years ago. And as a result, it's made me despise the Pokemon. Because I see Bidoof now and I just think, oh, some kid somewhere's laughing about how it's the strongest Pokemon ever and how it's our real Lord and Saviour. And that's just lame, man. Like, get funny, please. The poison type's a nice and easy one, so I'm going to keep it quick. It's Swalot. I don't like it. It's not interesting. It's a boring Pokemon. I get that it's based on, like, a stomach. I don't care. Like, wow, it's a stomach. And it's called Swalot. That's wonderful. Wow, its gimmick is it swallows things. Wow. Do you know what? I've seen things that swallow that look a lot more attractive than this. They keep my interest. This thing does not. When it comes to the Psychic type, which is all about the mind, oh look, another humanoid Pokemon. It's Gothitelle. Now again, it's another Pokemon where I get the origin. I understand it's kind of like Gothic Lolita, isn't it? But again, I don't like a Pokemon that just looks like I've caught a person. I'm not an advocate for slavery. You know, I'm with the 99% of mankind that thinks that keeping human beings as slaves is probably pretty wrong, right? So why would I want to capture a human-looking Pokemon? Because to me, that's uncomfortable, that's creepy, it's not fun, and it doesn't make the family-friendly kind of game that I'm interested in playing. The design of Gothitelle could have been done so much better. They could have made it into something that's kind of like an animal, or kind of like some kind of mythological creature. But no, what did they do? They just went, hey, Gothitelle. What a great idea. It's just lame. I don't know if I can stress enough, I just don't like humanoid Pokemon. The Rock type is another really, really easy one. In fact, I won't even keep you that long. It's Lycanroc Midnight. And before you get all up in arms, I know it's a good Pokemon. I know it's got decent stats. I know some of you love using it, and I've got absolutely nothing against this Pokemon in terms of its creation, its design, its stats, its abilities, anything like that. It just reminds me of a person that makes me really uncomfortable. Sorry. For the Steel type, we've got a really unimaginative Pokemon that for once, thank God, isn't human-like, and that's Klinklang. Now I get how the Klinklang line works. You've got a gear, you've got a pair of gears, and then you've got 3 gears and a little spinny ring around them. That's fantastic, but as I said with Chandelure in my previous video, I like Pokemon that look like Pokemon first and objects later, and Klinklang does not look like a Pokemon. Klinklang literally looks like, if we get gears, eyes, that's a Pokemon, right? Wonderful! And again, I seem to keep saying this, but I'm sure it's got great stats. I'm sure you guys have used it in battle before, but it's just a bunch of gears. Mechanical things can be interesting. Don't get me wrong, like I love to see, like, you know those clocks where you can see all the gears inside? They're fantastic. I love seeing how machines work, but just walking around the Pokemon world with one? I don't care for that. I'm sure these designers are professional designers, right? So I'm pretty sure they could have made a Pokemon that incorporated gears or incorporated certain limbs that might look like gears while still maintaining the image of a creature or an animal. But this to me isn't really believable. This thing is just a set of gears and I just can't care about it because I don't feel any attachment to objects, you know? Like this Pokemon is just the complete opposite of Chandelure. It's an inanimate object Pokemon done completely wrong. And last but not least, for my favourite type, the water type, I had to sift through and find a Pokemon that I don't like. And that was really, really easy. Basculin is my least favourite water type, simply because it's a lazy Pokemon. Now, I've used Basculin in battle. I've actually defeated some people's Pokemon with a Basculin in battle, because it has a decent speed stat. It's got decent attack. However, it still doesn't take away from the fact that it's a really lazy Pokemon design. Like, this Pokemon's literally just a fish. There's nothing interesting about it. In fact, just looking at Basculin, you can tell the designers of the Gen 5 Pokemon were looking at their roster that they'd created and they went, okay, so we think we've finished designing all the Pokemon for Generation 5, but we're really low on water types. We really haven't made many water types for this generation. I mean, why don't you just create another fish? Oh, that's not a bad idea, actually. Yeah, should we give it an evolutionary line? No, don't bother with that. Just standalone Pokemon. Like, okay, I mean, you could give it 2 forms, you know, like Red Stripe and Blue Stripe. You're a genius. Fantastic. Basculin is just a perfect example of a lazy design that we just didn't need. So there's my list of my least favorite Pokemon of each type. Let me know in the comments your lists of your least favorite Pokemon of each type. And of course, like the video if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter for all my latest updates. Come and hang out in one of my Twitch live streams. I'd love to see you there. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month on Patreon. All the links you need are in the description below. Of course, subscribe with notifications on so you never miss a video. And until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.